You get paid on Friday. By Monday, half of it feels like it has completely vanished. You open your banking app in the cab of your lorry, scroll through the transactions, and nothing looks absolutely crazy. There are no wild shopping sprees in your history. Nobody booked a holiday to Ibiza. The charges are just groceries, petrol, a few taps on your phone at a service station, and maybe a pint with a mate. Normal life. But then you do the math. You earned about £3,000 after taxes last month. Rent took 1,000. Your car finance grabbed another 400. So, you should have had over $1,500 left to work with. Except you didn't. Somehow, you ended the month with 80 quid in your current account and a credit card balance that quietly climbed by 300. Where did it go? I know that feeling because I've lived it. A few years ago, I sat down in my sleeper cab one Sunday night to figure out why I always felt brassic, even though my basic pay wasn't terrible. I made a spreadsheet, tracked everything for 30 days straight, and what I found made me feel physically sick. I was bleeding over 800 quid a month on habits I thought were completely harmless. Tiny purchases, small recurring charges, and decisions that seemed so minor in the moment that my brain literally filed them as free. They weren't free, mate. They were the exact reason I couldn't save a single penny. Here's what nobody tells you about being broke. For most people, it isn't one big mistake. There is no single villain draining your account. Instead, it is 15 small ones, 15 everyday habits so baked into your routine that they feel like breathing. The first leak is ordering delivery as your default dinner plan. I am not talking about the occasional Friday night when you're exhausted and a takeaway pizza sounds brilliant. What I am talking about is the 3 times a week habit that creeps in so gradually you forget it ever started as an exception. My mate Steve-O used to joke that Just Eat was his personal chef. He'd order a kebab and chips for 15 quid and feel like he'd kept it reasonable, except that 15 quid meal never actually cost 15 quid. By the time you add the delivery fee, the service fee, the tip, and the sneaky menu markup that restaurants build into app prices, that order runs closer to 28. The same meal made at home cost about 3 quid in basic ingredients. The next leak is the subscription pile you forgot about. The average Brit spends over 100 quid a month on subscriptions, but thinks they spend less than 40. That gap adds up to over £700 a year in charges you literally do not know you are paying. Netflix, Spotify, that fitness app you used twice in January, the cloud storage upgrade you needed for one project 6 months ago. Pull up your bank statement right now. Count every recurring charge. You will be absolutely stunned. Then there is buying brand names when the generic version is chemically identical. You reach for Nurofen instead of standard ibuprofen or brand name bleach instead of the supermarket version. Generic medications are required by law to have the exact same active ingredient, the same dosage, and the same strength. Yet, the branded version costs 50% more. Nobody ever built wealth because they chose brand name bleach over the store brand that contains the exact same active ingredients. Then comes the daily convenience tax. A £5 coffee at the services, a sparkling water from the petrol station, or a £7 meal deal, Because you skipped breakfast. Your brain processes these small amounts completely differently than a large purchase. Neuroscientists call this the peanuts effect, where amounts below a certain threshold do not trigger the pain of paying response. 5 quid doesn't hurt. It barely registers. But 5 quid a day, 5 days a week, is over £1,000 a year. That is a full stocks and shares ISA contribution for someone just starting out. Now, let's talk about a habit that costs way more than coffee ever could. Financing a car you cannot actually afford. The average car payment in this country is absolutely massive. People are trading in perfectly functional runarounds for a brand new German motor on a PCP deal that runs 400 quid a month forever. You never actually own the vehicle. You are just renting a badge. Over a decade, that habit cost a fortune compared to keeping a reliable used car for 5 years. The same logic applies to the buy now, pay later trap. Services like Klarna make £100 jacket feel like 4 easy payments of 25. But here's the simple truth. If you need 4 payments to buy £100 jacket, you cannot afford the jacket. It is as simple as that. The final habit is the one underneath all the others. Waiting until you make more money before learning how money actually works. We tell ourselves a story, and it sounds perfectly reasonable when we say it out loud. Once I get that raise, I'll start saving. Once things settle down, I'll sit down and actually learn this stuff. Except things never settle down. The raise comes, and lifestyle creep devours it before you even notice. The learning gets pushed to next year, then next decade, and then one morning, you are 55 with a hollow feeling in your stomach. Every single habit I have described, every one of the leaks, shrinks dramatically when you genuinely understand how money works. Financial literacy isn't something you earn after you're already wealthy. It is the starting line. But most people spend their entire lives thinking it is the finish line. The person I described at the beginning, the one staring at their bank app on a Monday morning wondering where the money went, that was me. The difference between that version of me and the person talking to you now isn't a bigger salary. What changed was that I stopped guessing and started learning the rules of the game I was already playing. You don't need to earn more money to stop being broke. You need to stop quietly losing the money you already earn. If you recognize yourself in a few of these habits today, don't feel ashamed. It means you are paying attention, and awareness is always the very first step toward change. If this gave you a bit of a wake-up call, drop a like on the video. It helps the message reach the drivers who are tired of running on the financial treadmill. Subscribe for more honest tales from the tarmac and real financial talk. And let me know in the comments, which of these leaks are you going to plug first? Stay disciplined, watch the leaks, and keep the shiny side up. Over and out.